That's Carol Stitchman speaking to me a little earlier on. You are watching a special edition of ITV News Central at the new New Street station. The time is coming up to 6:15, still to come on the programme. The changing face of Birmingham railways, all in the name of progress.
And I've got the best view of all, and I'm also in the heart of the weather. So join me for the full forecast in a few minutes' time.
For a long time, Birmingham has had an image problem. But now business leaders and economic experts are saying this is the year the second city finally lives up to its name. Our business correspondent Mark Goff now reports on the economic impact a first-class station and shopping centre will have.
Grand Central will change the landscape of Birmingham, physically but also commercially. With hundreds of thousands of potential shoppers, it's clearly a bright idea to open a store here. But it's thought Grand Central will also trigger regeneration in other parts of the city.
I can't name the businesses, but I can tell you there are several businesses who are going to invest a lot of money in other cities, northern powerhouses, and they've decided to come to Birmingham. There's one business that was going to invest elsewhere that decided to put its 20 million into the city rather than somewhere else. I think that's an extremely wise decision.
What were their reasons for doing that?
Their reasons for doing that, well, they came and visited this particular site, they walked around the city, they understand what we're trying to do with the council and all the other businesses working together to create a fantastic environment.
Research carried out for Network Rail found that Grand Central will make the city a more attractive place to live, work and invest. It will encourage businesses to bring their headquarters to the city, and it will add 30% or more to property prices near the station. Spanish chef Omar Aliboy and his business partners have spent £750,000 bringing tapas to Birmingham. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Madrid, Spain.
And you've decided to open here. Why?
Well, I felt there is a great opportunity because people is very knowledgeable about their food in Birmingham and it's becoming a very exciting city. All my restaurants are in London. This is my first venture outside it and I feel that Birmingham is the place to be.
A big decider is the John Lewis factor. Build one and they will come. Shoppers and other shops, that is. Nishil Thakrar and his dad from Birmingham have been selling their designer clothes online for years, but now they're taking the plunge with their first shop.
Grand Central came up and we were really, it was just like round the corner from us. We know the area well, and then John Lewis being there, we thought this is the one. The foot flow is going to be there, and I think it's a risk, but it's the right risk to take for where we want to go.
This established brand is hanging onto the coattails of John Lewis too, and they saw early that shops in stations are a first-class idea.
We're always looking for new sites, and actually following our customers, we've identified with John Lewis opening in the centre actually very much akin to them. And we've had some good successes recently in some travel locations like St Pancras down in London.
We've been waiting for the right opportunity in Birmingham. It's such a crucial city to be part of, and of course Network Rail, Grand Central, this development just formed the perfect opportunity for us.
And it's thought that this station revamp will spread to buildings nearby, here in the south side of the city, in the Chinese Theatre and Gay Quarter.
There's an awful lot of investment that's interested and also happening in Southside as we speak. And of course, as this building comes to life and people actually see the reality of it rather than the theory, it will just encourage those that are maybe slightly hesitant to get their wallets out.
Could this be the start of Birmingham boom time? Mark Goff, ITV News.
Well, Mark joins us now. And Mark, although it's great news for the city economically, this station, it hasn't all been good news today, has it?
No, some dramatic news coming out of JCB tonight. They're going to have to make 400 people redundant. And what they're describing is a rapid deterioration in the construction industry all around the world, predominantly in their emerging markets, which are China, Russia and Brazil. China's economy has dropped by 70%. So what JCB says, it's going to have to rebalance its overheads because the sales figures just aren't going to be what they were expecting.
And do we know how many people are affected in our region?
Well, 6,500 people are employed by JCB in the UK, and if the most of them is 6,000 up near Rochester in Staffordshire. And unfortunately, most of these jobs are going to go in the UK, but the unions and the companies say they're going to try for voluntary redundancies where possible.
OK, Mark, thank you very much for that update. And of course, we'll keep you updated on our programme. Now, though, someone I know who is very much looking forward to the shopping is, of course, Janelle. I know she's been counting down. And Janelle, just 3 days to go until Grand Central opens. What have people been saying to you?
Well, Sam, I think most people are just really pleased that now we have a station that's no longer an embarrassment or an eyesore, and finally the biggest and most complex project in Europe is now open. So many of the retail outlets, the shops, the cafes and the bars that everyone's looking forward to opening, as Mark just said, some of them haven't even been to the outside of London before or even been in the Midlands. So it's a really exciting time for us here. And in fact, I spoke to some people today who had travelled to Birmingham especially just to see the station, and the shops haven't even opened just yet.
Brilliant, beautiful, I love it. So I'm so proud for them, good job.
I think it will operate as a big magnet to draw people into the city. It's exactly what we needed. You know, we are the second city, must behave like it.
So we've got to have the shop central, people come to the town centre rather than going to parks outside the centre. So definitely a good thing, but it will hurt them obviously, yeah. It's a balance we've got to try and have, which is very difficult in this day and age, very competitive.
We used to have Lewis's before, didn't we, years ago?
So you're glad to see it come back?
Yes, yes, we shall certainly be looking in there.
So very excited people there, 2 thumbs up, and some of those people were from Coventry and Wolverhampton, just showing what Grand Central is going to do for the city of Birmingham. Back to you, Sam.
Janelle, thank you very much. Well, the controversial 60 station was ahead of its time with the Palisade Shopping Centre on top. But the shopping came at a price. All that concrete made it really dark and dingy, and oh, how we remember it well. Well, a lot has been made of the roof and all the natural light that we now have, but the original 19th century station had that too. Keith Wilkinson has been taking a look at why the 60s planners decided to bulldoze it in the name of progress.
The original New Street station, called Grand Central. It was a magnificent place, architecture on an heroic scale. So different to the concrete replacement so many people quickly grew to hate. Even in its final years, the old New Street was an exciting place, especially if you were a train spotter, like the radio presenter Les Ross in his younger days. Boys in pursuit of engines like this one, now under restoration at Tyseley Loco Works.
You could hear a steam engine coming in. Oh, there's something coming in over platform 7, you know, dash up the stairs or whatever, falling up the stairs, books flying and everything. We used to think the stations had been built and the railways were running for us to spot trains. You know, of course we did. And then these people apparently got on them as passengers. Get out of the way, I can't see the number and all that.
But those passengers were in decline, and people were demanding better services and modernisation.
Oh, I'm fed up with these railways. I wish they'd do something about it.
The trouble is the trains are so empty that we are subsidising by paying a lot the people who do travel on them.
The engines are not working some of the time, they break down.
Well, the seats are terribly dirty and the carriages are dirty.
By the time the train arrives, it's cold and it's damp, and it's just not an enjoyable journey at all, you know.
The service is terrible and I'm absolutely fed up with the whole thing.
What they got was the new New Street, and did that get some criticism in the years ahead? The old roofs, badly damaged by Hitler's bombers, were finished off by Birmingham planners to make way for the new obsession, shopping precincts.
And the views of the City Council and a lot of other people was that roofing the station over and providing shopping facilities and other facilities on the floor above the station was much more valuable than these historic roofs. And so they went in the rebuilding that was finished in 1962.
The result was what some saw as drab, dark and dingy platforms.
They had to raise the ceiling of the station 2 feet. As it was, you see, that the ceiling of the station became the floor of the shopping centre. And as a floor of the shopping centre, it was a substantial piece of concrete. And so that was why the news station was basically dark.
But the bright 1960s future for the station was trumpeted with excitement by an ITV documentary at the time.
New Street Station in Birmingham has a proud record of service to the travelling public, but in a modern railway system it had to go. The station facilities were bad because they were too old. The modern electric train has 13 coaches, and the old station had only one platform big enough to take such a train. Already work on the new Euston and Manchester Piccadilly stations is complete, but the New Street plan is the most comprehensive of them all. Before development, there were 8 through platforms on the station and 6 bays. Not enough. As the demolition progressed, old landmarks disappeared and new views of the city took their place. The final station will blend with the modern city, with a railway at ground level and a new shopping precinct on the 7.5-acre precessed platform covering the station and tracks.
As a traditionalist, you could say that, well, prefer the old one, but you have to look at the practicality of the fact that it is a working unit that's there to serve Birmingham and to put people on trains and take them off trains, and the more trains you can get in there, the better it's doing its job.
But you still prefer the old one yourself, personally?
Well, I would if it was full of steam locomotives, but, you know, life's not like that.
Life was like this until the 60s planners thought we'd enjoy this kind of thing much more. Keith Wilkinson, ITV News.
So some considerable changes in the journey of New Street Station. Now let's get the weather forecast from Lucy Kite. And Lucy's got a bird's eye view of this station.
Hello, well I'm right on the top of the Rotunda building tonight. It's really grotty weather. We are getting soaked, but it's worth it. It's a spectacular view of the new and improved station. You can see the atrium roof, which, as we've already heard, is self-cleaning. I think the architect who designed that had Birmingham's weather in mind. You can also see the trains coming and going, which is lovely, but it is raining. It is pretty grim today. The rain is travelling from the west over in an easterly direction. It is clearing, but there's more on the way. Let's get the detail in your forecast.
What's on the cards today? ITV Central Weather, sponsored by Thomas Cook Cash Passports.
So we've seen lots of rain today. Most of it's fallen in my hair, as you can see, and there's more to come over the next 12 hours or so. More about that in a second. First, tonight's weather picture, though. We're getting all autumnal in tonight's picture. Thank you to Dave Atkinson for this one, taken in Leamington Spa. So then, here's the radar. That huge band of rain is spreading off to the North Sea now, but we are left with some heavy showers behind it, as you can see there, coming in from the west. Now tonight we can expect heavy thundery downpours, especially in southern counties, but all of us could catch a shower overnight tonight. Temperatures dipping lower than last night, around 8 or 9 degrees Celsius, so feeling a little bit chillier. Tomorrow, because of the breaks in the cloud overnight, well, we're going to see some lovely spells of sunshine, but also some scattered showers through the morning. They'll become very few and far between as we get into the afternoon, so a much better day than today. Highs of around 15 degrees Celsius, still below the seasonal average for our temperatures, but things settling down for the second half of the week. Have a nice evening.
ITV Central Weather, sponsored by Thomas Cook Cash Passports.
Well, look who I managed to drag in from the concourse. Janelle has joined me, as you can see. Come rain or shine, the improved New Street Station is here to stay. Janelle, you and me have been here all day. I mean, generally, the response from the public's been great, hasn't it?
It has. Everyone's loving it. All the space, the bright lights. I think everyone I've spoken to has just said it's absolutely fantastic. Raise the status of the city.
And of course, there's been lots of your comments, which you will see on our website. Now, don't forget, if you're a football fan, we haven't forgotten about you. We'll have the pick of the results on the Late Show tonight. From us, though, for now, have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.
Good night.